Yes, listen. So I saw a video that you did recently that took me back to the first house my husband and I bought, where we had a problem with a leak. And
Yeah.
you did a video that, frankly, you were describing what happened in your house, and you were so calm and so collected. And I was like, I know you had to be raging inside.
I
And
cussed a
you
little bit.
I would bet. I wanted to cuss on your behalf. But it all stemmed from you going on a vacation and coming home and realizing there were some things that you probably could have done to prevent what happened. And so we're all going to benefit from your tragedy. Talk to us about what this situation was and some practical tips that all of us as homeowners should employ before we head away for whatever vacations we have planned.
Absolutely, absolutely. So like you said, it was like really trial and error. I left for vacation, came back to my house flooded on every single
Oh my
level.
God.
Water started from the upstairs bathroom, which then leaked through the floors and onto my
Mm,
kitchen, which then leaked to the basement. It was just a mess. And if you know of anything that has a heavy price tag, it is water damage.
that's right.
More than that, it also comes with like water in your walls and your ceilings, a lot of unseen, hidden damage that it can be doing. And so I found out the mistake that I made was not turning off my main water valve. And that is the lesson learned from that thousands of dollars that I had to spend on those repairs.
Mm.
Um, so I urge every homeowner, if you're going away, even if it's just for 48 hours, because leaks always seem to happen when you're not in the house.
Right.
A leak will sneak attack you, and it knows when you're away, and it'll just start gushing out water. If you are leaving the house for anywhere I would even say 24 hours just for peace of mind, and to protect your pockets, right? Because water,
Mm.
like I said, water damage comes with a hefty price tag. Turn off that main water valve. And usually it's maybe located in your basement. It may be located, somewhere outdoors in and or around the house. But get familiar or be familiar where that main water shutoff valve is. And it really is just as simple as turning a knob, turning it off,
Mm.
and when you're returning back to the home, turning it back on. This will prevent any water from a leak from going. Your faucet waters will completely be an op. And if there's no one in the home, you really don't need any faucet water, right? Uh,
Right.
preventing
And
any.
one of the things that you pointed out was that when you have water damage in your house, it's not just fixing the source of the leak. It's all of the attenuating damage that is done as a result. You had video up, and you guys can still see this on at Weekly Home Check on Instagram, and all the other places where you can find Weekly Home Check. You had videos of like your floors being pulled up, your
Yep.
ceilings having to be fully opened and dried out because, as you mentioned, water damage can lead to mold and mildew in the walls, which can be deadly if you're
Right.
living with these things unexpectedly. And I remember when we first bought our house in Brooklyn, it's a three floor multi-unit building, and we had a leak on the was it on the top floor, and
Yep.
we thought we called the plumber. They're like, oh yeah, it's be a couple $100, no problem. I was like, we're cool, no problem. We just put all this money down, not an issue. Keyshawn, that leak problem went from the third floor through the
Yes.
parlor floor, through the first floor, into the basement. And when the plumber came out, it was thousands of dollars. And then they
Yes.
had like a rectangular opening from the third floor through the parlor floor, through the ground floor into the basement. Literally a rectangle, maybe 2 feet wide in terms of the width of it, but from floor to ceiling. And the plumbers did not fix that. They
Yeah.
they fixed the pipes, but then we had to bring in construction workers to
Yes.
do the sheetrock, to repair everything. We spent so much money on that was our first. It was like, welcome to home ownership.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what that part of this process was like for you as well.
Wow. So, coming in, I already knew like just from water damage. I already know like water, mold, mildew in walls and ceilings.
Mm.
Uh, Especially wood floors, depending on it doesn't even matter the kind of floor you have. Water will just screw up structural and can be structural damage for your home, right? So I knew that I needed to call someone to inspect to get my floors checked out, which they didn't told me that, the floors, the wood. was damaged, so that had to be
Wow.
ripped out and taken out. The ceilings, when I got home, I'll never forget there was a huge bubble of water just
Mm.
dripping from the ceiling. So I already knew that there was some damage up in my ceilings there. So of course they had to take out all that sheetrock. I had to leave my home
Wow.
for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. Yeah, while it
Oh
all
my
dried,
God.
while they took up my floors, they resanded the floors. My home was completely being just like done over. And this is all, if I think this all could have been avoided by just turning a knob, you know?
Mm.
So like I said, I urge everyone to, if you're going away from vacation, turn off that main water valve. Also, another secret thing or a secret killer can be if you take showers and you constantly are having water being your shower water is being I don't know, just like out of the tub. It's not being directed into the tub, and there's like if your grout is not sealed properly or something,
Ooh.
water can get in like in the floors there in your bathroom. So you want to be extra careful about that, about shower water as well. But other things to do when you are going away from vacation, just to have peace of mind and to save money. I always say if you're going away in the summer times, set your thermostat to 78 degrees.
Hmm.
This is so your home you won't turn to like a musty home or humid home. A lot of the times, a lot of our electronics can't really take, won't thrive, or our appliances aren't meant to be in like humid areas like that, especially our plants, and
Right.
if it is the winter time, I always say 55 degrees, set your thermostat on 55 degrees. This will prevent your pipes from freezing, and
Right.
avoiding another water instance or something dealing with the water damage. Um,
Whew.
and in turning your main water valve off.
For
Also, your
people.
water heater.
Oh, say more about that.
Yeah, your water heater. You want to turn that to pilot or vacation. A lot of the times you'll see a knob on the water heater itself. Do not
There's a
turn
vacation feature on the
If
water
there's
heater?
not a vacation feature, there'll be a pilot feature, but you do not want to turn it off because then you'll have to relight the pilot. So a lot of the
Ah,
time it doesn't say pilot, it'll say vacation and vice versa. You want to put that down, that'll save you money on the energy bill. That is because we don't need necessarily hot water if we're not going to be using it and we're going to be home to use that hot water, right?
right, right.
Um,
Now,
Also with thermostat,
I'm imagining there are a lot of people who don't know where their main water valves are located. If you're one of
Mhm.
those people, how do you find this thing?
You know what? I always say start in the basement. A lot of the times, we got a bunch of controls. Our control is from the basement of our home.
Mm.
Depending on not everyone, but majority of the times it is. Go downstairs and just follow pipes. If you follow your pipes, a lot of the times you'll also find that if you do have a backyard, you'll have a main water valve shut off for your backyard as well, which will be separate from your in-home water. Um, if you want to turn one of those, some people may have a sprinkler system. They're worried about, keeping their grass green or
Right.
their flowers watered. A lot of the times that is a separate control that you may have, and it may be in the basement. Follow those pipes up in your roof if they are exposed. Or, you can also hire just like I don't know, an electrician, a handyman who can tell you and point out what controls are what in your home. It is absolutely good to know as a homeowner where all your controls are in the event of emergency or not.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that might be helpful for people is to label it. Like I remember when we got this house, the one of the people who came into with the because we have PSE&G, and
Yeah,
that's the electric company for this part of where our house is located. And the guy came in to check out the appliances because we put everything under a warranty because some of these appliances had been here for a little while, but they had
yeah,
our electric company has a program. Well, they will insure your appliances even if you are a homeowner who's inheriting the appliances appliances. So if you've got that feature with your utilities, I really recommend that people take advantage of it because it has saved us from in more than one occasion. But when the guy came out, great brother, super dope, communicative. We were like, so what is this? What is that? And he literally walked us through everything and showed us what each thing was, showed us where the
Yeah.
main water valve was, showed us how to, and I'm going to say it incorrectly, but there's something you're supposed to do, I think, with the water. I can't remember if it's the boiler or if it's the water heater, but basically you're supposed to every 2 weeks you're supposed to drain it. Right now, we
Mhm.
never knew this in our Brooklyn house. I'm like, maybe that's why that one thing had messed up. But I think it was like,
Yeah.
I think it might have been a boiler. But we were supposed to turn the valve and drain the moisture out of it so
Yeah.
that it
Flush
doesn't get
water
corroded or
here.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'd never known that before. I did not know. And again, I really do think that's why we had a situation in Brooklyn
Yeah.
that we didn't know
Yeah.
about new homeowners. But they were really generous. He was really generous with the time. And then it just explained everything because we didn't know. And then the water situation in our house here is different than the water situation, like the harshness of the water. I guess
Yes.
we have really hard water.
Hard water.
And yeah, and so it gave us a lot of information about how to treat the water and there are people who can help you figure these things out. You, Kyshawn, are definitely one of them. But when you're in your house and you're like, I cannot find this valve, you may want to have your handy person come show you where it's at, and literally put on, like how in the, I don't know if you ever watched The Color Purple, but there's that scene where Miss Celie is learning how to read, and she's got all the names of everything on like a little index card or a piece of wax paper, like door, D-O-R door, D-O-O-R door, and like she's put it up. Put a label up on
Yeah.
your stuff so that because you're going to forget. If there's an emergency, you're not going to be thinking rationally, what was it that the utility man told me that was this the water pipe or was this
Right.
the. Yeah, be clear and label your items. I think that would help a lot of people as well.
And if you live with others, it's a good idea that everyone is familiar with these labels when you do label it, because you never know, right?
Right.
Everyone should be familiar with all the controls. If you live in the home, in the event of any sort of kind of accident, any sort of kind of emergency, everyone should know exactly what to do and what proper protocol to take.
Right.
So, great idea to label everything that's in the basement, label everything that's in the home that may be unfamiliar to you. We may not
Mm-hmm.
use it all the time, but if ever we do need to use it, we do need to know where to go.
Yeah, that's huge. We have a question in one of the show chats. They're wondering, did your insurance help out at all? They're hoping you had insurance, and then they're hoping that insurance helped to cover the cost. What say you about insurance and water damage?
You know what? Luckily, I did have insurance.
Good.
If I didn't have insurance, it would have been a huge, 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 huge
Mm,
bill. So insurance definitely did come through with some of the damages that my I suffered. So definitely, if you do not have insurance, definitely reconsider that.
mm-hmm.
Because again, they are there to help in the event of any emergency. Luckily, they were able to get me out of the house. But you know what? Yes, I am happy to have had insurance, but it was just the whole thought of just like, uprooting life and living out of a hotel for
Mm,
suddenly 3 weeks, it's that part that becomes a little bit stressful, um, that you have to deal with. But
yeah.
luckily, yes, insurance played a
Yeah.
big in covering some of the damages.
And then the other thing with insurance is that once you file a claim, you're at risk of seeing your insurance premiums go up because they're like, oh, well, you done already messed up. We done already had to
Right,
come send you a check. So
right.
we've experienced the downside of that as well. And so you don't want to have to file a claim, but these are things we cannot do on our own unless we're independently wealthy. I am not independently wealthy.
Yeah,
So we need those insurances. And then the other thing is this happened when you were coming home, right? So I'm hoping you had a wonderful vacation wherever you were. I'm sure you were coming home feeling blessed by the sun,
right,
experiencing the joy of after vacation glow,
right,
and then bam, you walk
right,
into the house and all
right.
the vacation all
And
the
after
vacation
a
benefit is
vacation, I'm
evaporated.
like, I need the vacation in my home, a nice little
Right.
vacation after your vacation and, in-home vacation. But that was not the case here. We went straight
Mm,
to work, straight to work.
mm.
It was at night. It was about 11 p.m. I got home and you're dealing with leaks. So it was
Oh
like,
man.
this is so great. But luckily, everything, the house is back in order. My floors were, fixed. The ceiling is fixed. Uh, you know,
Good.
Luckily, we've
Good.
learned the lesson from leaks, and hopefully, I'm passing along that information that if ever you're going away from the home, definitely shut off your main water valve.
Definitely, definitely.